So this is my June favorites video. Can you believe it is the end of June? I'm filming a couple videos a little bit earlier than I would because I am about to leave for like a couple of weeks. So here we are. It's the end of June, but the month is not over yet. I have one show, 3 movies, and 1 book. I finally have a book to talk about in these monthly favorites videos, and then a whole bunch of music, because music is my life. Yeah, the music is definitely excessive this month, especially because I was listening to a lot of, like, random songs by random artists, so music's always last. We'll get to that. First, I have one show, and that's Sex and the City. I finished this month, and I feel like it's kind of an underrated show. Like, I think that it gets, how should I say this? I think it kind of gets a bad reputation. I feel like people don't give it enough credit for what it is. I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain, but I think that the characters can seem really stereotypical, especially like with who they're kind of known as, like, you know, the Samantha character, the Charlotte character, that kind of thing. But they're still like full characters. There's still a lot of other things about them instead of like Samantha's the one who has sex all the time and Charlotte's kind of like the prude, like very opposite of Samantha. I also think it's a very like watchable show. Like, I can see myself starting it again. Actually, I was watching the last episode, and this is the second time this has ever happened to me. I felt like just restarting the entire show right then and there, which, like, I could see myself doing. I just said that, but I can. I think that it's the kind of show that you can kind of have on all the time, like Friends, I guess. I'm not a huge fan of Friends, but I think that that's a good comparison with the way I'm trying to explain what I mean here. There are some things that I don't really like what happens, or like there are certain characters that I don't like when they're part of the storyline, but I like the 4 main characters a lot, and I really enjoyed the show. And it's a lot funnier than I thought it was going to be too. It's pretty funny. And it's still a little bit relatable. Like, it's not completely relatable because I'm not in that part of my life yet, as I've previously stated. But it's enjoyable and funny and relatable, and I think actually really thought-provoking. I'll link it in the description. I watched this video the day I finished the show. I don't know if I can figure out, I don't know. I don't know the, YouTube channel, but it's a YouTube channel that does like film and TV show kind of like video essays, and it was about Sex and the City, and I watched it the day I finished the show, and it was a really interesting video, and I think it lent itself well to the show and what it's about, and the cultural staple that it holds within the time that it came out. So I think the show can be seen as just like a good show if you're just watching it to be entertained, but I think that there's so much more that you can look into if you want to kind of analyze it a bit more and go deeper into the characters and the actions they take, and therefore like the plot, and therefore the storylines that happen throughout the show. And then for movies, I have 3. I have Bottle Rocket from 1990, oh my god, I forgot the year, 1996. This is directed by Wes Anderson, and this is probably kind of a surprising favorite because I'm working on rewatching the Wes Anderson films, because I've already mentioned this in another video, but I'm going to make a video where I talk about all of his films and kind of give my own ranking and thoughts on each one. So I'm not going to talk about this too much, but I had only seen this one other time previously, and I thought it was like okay. I think I was a little bit distracted by like something else that I was doing at the same time that I was watching it. I watched this a second time this month, and I enjoyed it so much more than I did the first time. It went up so much. Like, I feel like this was probably, except for the Grand Budapest Hotel, this was probably like my second least favorite Wes Anderson film, and it just shot like all the way up to like 2 or 3 on the list. So I just enjoyed this so much. This is about two friends, kind of mostly it revolves around the two friends, but then there's also another friend who is involved, and they decide to rob a place. They decide to rob a bookstore, I'm pretty sure. And then they go on the run, even though, like, no one's really looking for them. And they stay at, I don't know if you can tell, but there's, like, a motel here. And it just kind of goes on from there. Complicated character relationships, basically. Like most Wes Anderson films. It's about the characters and the situations they put themselves in. I thought that Owen Wilson's character was really interesting. He has a tendency to play characters that are kind of similar, like sort of full of themselves, or like think that they know everything that's happening, and they like come up with the plans. I say they as in like the multiple characters he plays. Also kind of a theme though throughout the characters he plays in Wes Anderson films, and he's actually co-writer of this, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I had already seen the short film that it's based off of. I can't go into it too much because I know I'm going to talk about it a lot in that Wes Anderson video that I end up doing, which might be more like a series. I don't know whether or not I should make it one video or multiple videos. So if you have like an idea for that, please leave a comment saying what you would prefer. Probably I'm leaning more towards multiple videos, especially because I could probably talk about each movie a lot. I don't know, we'll see. But this one is definitely a June favorite. Not my favorite film that I watched this month, that's still to come, but it went from one of my least Wes Anderson films. It went from one of my least favorite Wes Anderson films to one of my favorites, and that's pretty awesome. So that's pretty cool, and I'm really thankful for that. Another favorite film that I watched this month is The Royal Tenenbaums, another Wes Anderson film. This is my favorite Wes Anderson film, and it continues to be my favorite Wes Anderson film after I watched it again for the first time in years, actually. I got to a point where I had watched it too many times and almost felt bored when I was watching it one time, and then I immediately took it out and I went, this can't happen to this movie. I cannot feel bored during a movie that is one of my favorites. So I took it out and then refused to watch it for years, and I finally watched it again. I don't know how many years it's been. I think close to 4 years. And this one is from 2001, and it's about the Tenenbaums, a family of prodigy genius children who grow up and then they're just a mess, basically. And their father tries to integrate himself back in their lives. He became sort of estranged from them, and it's a family drama. This one, though, I would say trigger warning for attempt at suicide. That's kind of a spoiler, but it's still pretty vague. I feel like this is the quintessential Wes Anderson film, and I honestly think it's most people's favorite Anderson film, so it's mine as well. Then the third film favorite that I have this month is Love, Simon. It's just so enjoyable, and it's enjoyable, it's funny, it's so good, it's sad, like it's relatable, and I was like crying and I was laughing and I was a lot of emotions. I could tell just from the trailer that it would be a really good adaptation and a really good film overall, and I definitely think it makes the list of favorite adaptations, especially in terms of YA adaptations. I'm really hoping that they do adaptations of at least Leah on the Offbeat, and then we can kind of get more Leah. I have not read Leah on the Offbeat, but it'd be nice to get more Leah in film form as well as the other characters too. I don't even know what to say about Love, Simon. So many people have seen it anyway. I love how they make it, I don't, what are words right now? I love that they stick to it being just a normal teenage story and Simon is gay. Like, that's it. I don't like it when you especially see it in TV shows where there's a character who's gay and then that's like all their character is, and it's like they're still a person. You know, they can have other things happening in their life. It doesn't have to completely revolve around the fact that they're gay. Like, and that even though this is still sort of a coming out story and a coming of age story, it still didn't seem too much like, still made sure that Simon is a character and the other characters who have an LGBTQIA plus affiliation are also characters as well. Even if it's a minor character, there's still personality there. I figured it would be the case because that's the way Simon is written in the book, but sometimes with film adaptations, you never really know what kind of liberties they're going to take with characters and stories. And I know when the movie came out that it made like a really big impact, not only for film in general, but for its audience, whether someone is part of the LGBTQ community or not. And I'm hoping that especially with the other kinds of books that are coming out this year, and well, in the more recent years, and films, that characters in roles that are seen as minority roles become more than just their minority status or label. I don't really like labels, but I feel like I'm just going on about Love, Simon. Okay, moving on. I have one book favorite, and that is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I'm so happy with this book. I have a hard time explaining why I like this book. I just do. Overall, the word that I keep using the most is that it's interesting. I find it really interesting. The plot and the characters, and specifically the characters, really make up the plot, which I really appreciate because I'm very much a character-driven kind of person when it comes to the way stories are told. Plot, I care less about. I do think plot is important, obviously, but like if I don't care about the characters, why would I care about the plot? So characters are the most important part of a story to me. Most important aspect or element, and then probably the writing comes next, because if I can't get along with the writing, I won't be able to get through a book very well. And this I thought was written well. I don't think that there are too many like tangents or unnecessary segments. That could be a little bit more of a personal preference. Like, I don't mind. I like the everyday sort of quality that the writing has to the way that the story is being told. I think that others might see it as unnecessary information sometimes, and just a lot of like filler days with what happens. But I consider it very much a part of getting to know the characters, and that was really important in this book, and I still don't even know if I have every character figured out, which is why I keep saying that the characters are really interesting. I think that Henry is probably the most interesting to me. He's probably like the preference that I have, even though I don't really know if he's like a favorite character. I don't know. I don't even know how to explain this. He's the one who I kept on thinking that I had my head wrapped around, and then something would happen and it would catch me off guard, or I wouldn't see it coming, and then I'd have to alter my perception of the way I see Henry and the way that I understood him as a character. I also thought it was hard to figure out who Camilla was. I feel like you know the least about her compared to all the main characters. There's 5 main characters I consider. Something that was kind of surprising in this is that Julian Morrow, the professor, I know I've explained what this is about before, but just a quick reminder, it's about Richard who goes to college and he wants to continue his study in Greek, and Upon continuing Greek, he finds himself in a close-knit group of students who are very isolated from the other students of the college, and they have this one professor, Julian Morrow, who teaches all their classes and is their counselor, and I thought that it was going to have more to do with his influence on them as a group of students, especially a classical professor. But it really wasn't so much with his influence. I feel like Julian is a really vague character, and he seems like at times he's an overshadowing character, like he's kind of like lingering in the background, like figuratively. But then at the end, it was really all in my mind that he was a part of anything. He just happened to be their professor. I do have some more thoughts in my Goodreads review, which I will link in the description. Not too many more things compared to what I've said here. I just don't want to be talking about this for forever. So we're going to move on to music, which is going to be the rest of the video. I don't think there's anything... It was my birthday this month. That was cool. I had strawberry cheesecake as my birthday cake. I love cheesecake. And that's really it in terms of life things, I guess. Anything else that I can mention in terms of favorites other than music. So we're going to move on to music. And I have, as usual, a huge list of songs that I will link as many things in the description as possible. And, again, as usual, it's all K-pop. I'm going to try not to talk about the songs too much. These I've been listening to so much, though. Like, so much. There's a lot of favorites, but these are like top favorites. Like, I tried to cut out as many songs that I just like was listening to a little bit, and these are the songs that I had on repeat. So first, we have SNUPER's album called Blossom. Specifically, last month I mentioned their track Tulips, which is still my favorite track. There's only like 4 songs on this album anyway, but Tulips in particular is my favorite song, and Blossom, the album, is really good. Also, that's tulips like the flower. Then I also have Rainbird by Kunst. Kunst? K-U-N-S-T. I don't know how to pronounce it. We're going like, yeah. But Rainbird. Bittersweet by Crush. Baby by ASTRO. Take Me Higher by A.C.E, which is like... I don't know. Let's see if I had top 5 favorite songs, like this would be one of them. For this month at least. It's really good. I'm going to show this one to my friend too. I feel like this is one that could really transcend like borders, I guess. You know, like internationally. Only One for Me by BTOB. BTOB. Time of Sorrow by VICTON. Jelly by HOTSHOT, which is another one I'm showing my friend. This one's really good. This one's like a couple years old. Actually, there's a lot on here that are a few years old. But that doesn't mean they're not great songs. Yeah. Jelly by HOTSHOT. And then an album, I have again, Eau de Vixx by Vixx. Last month, I mentioned this album as a favorite, and it's still, again, it still is a favorite, except I was listening to Circle, like, so much, and then all of a sudden, Trigger and Escape, like, hit me. They're so good. Those are my favorite songs on the album. I don't know what I was thinking. Just last month, I was just listening to Circle so much that Trigger and Escape, I listened to those two, and I was like, oh my god. And it was, like, right after I filmed my May favorites video, and I was like, really? I'm like a day late on this. So I guess they kind of could have been, no, they couldn't have been May favorites because it was the end of May. Okay. Queen by History. This song is so good. I love this song. I love this video. It's a little bit like, there's too many cuts. Kind of too many cuts in it, but I really like it. And History disbanded, and I was like, what the heck? Of course I would get into a band, a group, a K-pop group that is like disbanded. That's kind of sad, but Queen is so good. Definitely, probably my favorite song of the month. Get Down by Boyz Republic, which is another favorite. Like, again, top 5 here. Chain, that album by NCT 127. This is their Japanese album, and my favorite song on the album, I do love Chain, but my favorite is probably Dreaming. Really good, weird noises, like bubble noises, pop noises. Like, that's what I'm going with to describe it. Bad by Infinite. I have 4 SHINee songs. SHINee's been, like, releasing multiple albums. Like, they've released 3 EPs or, like, mini albums within the last month or so. And so 2 of their newer songs, one is called Good Evening, and the other one is called Our Page. Those 2 are favorites of mine. Specifically, Good Evening I like a lot more, and this is another one that I'm going to show my friend because I feel like she would like it. But Our Page, this is one that they, like, just released. The music video had me bawling. Like, someone just, like, ripped my heart out. So SHINee is a K-pop group. This past December, Jonghyun, oh my god, this is really hard. So SHINee is a group. They used to have 5 members, and now they have 4. But they're forever going to be 5 members. In December, Jonghyun, one of the members, committed suicide, and these albums are their first releases since his suicide. And our page is their tribute to him, and just, like, the lyrics are so good. The music video is, like, okay, but it's just so beautiful and sad. And just, like, the last, like, 15 seconds of the music video, there's just, like, this 5th microphone stand, and, like, no one is there, and it got me, and I'm, like, tears everywhere. I can't even speak. Then a couple other SHINee songs that I've been listening to from previous albums are Prism and 1 Minute Back. I've also been listening to Call Call Call, which is a Japanese song by 17. Get It by PRISTIN V. Spotlight by MONSTA X. Another song called Get It, this time by the Boyz with a Z. And then the last group here is 24K or 24K. I don't know, I've never actually said it out loud before now that I think of it. But their song Bonnie and Clyde is so good. That one, Blue, and Superfly are the 3 songs of theirs that I've been listening to the most. Oh my god, I forgot one. I didn't write it down. It's called, oh my god, it's by BIGFLO. Stardom by BIGFLO. That is another favorite. But, like, Bonnie and Clyde by 24K or 24K would be, like, an all-time favorite for this month, like, top 5. What am I saying? My phone's about to run out of battery. So tell me what your favorites were from this month. Have you seen the movies that I watched, and have you read The Secret History? Did you like it as much as I did, even though I had a hard time describing what it is that I liked about it and why I liked it exactly? Yeah, so let me know what your favorite things were from the month of June. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.